Yeah, thank God. I mean, this far down the road, it's quite amazing. I've had such a fantastic career, and it's the best of all worlds right now for me.
Yeah. And listen, I see you live in Connecticut. You were born there and brought up there. That's obviously kind of, you decided to stay a homeboy.
Well, I'm about 8 miles from where I was born and brought up now.
Are you really?
Yeah, and it's a beautiful and yet it's a tough part of the world to live in. Winters are, I mean, I was in Anguilla 2 weeks ago for about 2 weeks in the beautiful Caribbean sunshine, and I came home 2 days later, we got 2 foot of snow.
Wow.
2 foot.
Gosh.
You know what that would do to the UK?
Listen, we get 2 inches and everything stops here.
Let me tell you, Mark, I've only missed 4 shows in 40 years. 2 of them were in the UK when there was like 1.5 inches of snow.
And you said, back home, this is a dusting.
Yeah, absolutely. But I understand because they have all the equipment here because it happens so often.
Yeah, but
you don't get that much of it, you know.
Yeah, but come on, we do get snow every year. It's about time we sorted it out. Tell us a little bit about Connecticut, though. Why it's so special to you, Gene? I mean, you could arguably live anywhere in the world.
Well, the biggest thing about it that you either love or really, really hate is the seasonal changes.
Yeah.
You know, like I was starting to say, winters can be severe, summers can be ridiculously hot. But the beauty of it is in the change when you go into the autumn. I live at the bottom of what they call the Mohawk Trail, which is where all the leaves change color in the autumn.
Oh, it must be incredible.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. And then when you get into spring, of course, it's like spring anywhere, I guess, and it makes it great. And when you were born here and grow up with that kind of a change thing, it's very hard to get away from it. I would feel very, very bad to stay in a climate that was always hot. Yeah. Always continually, or Miami, or one of the islands, or something like that.
And do you still have family locally, Gene?
Oh yeah, everybody's still here. All my brothers and sisters, and all the people that I grew up with. You know.
Yeah, can tell you spent a lot of time in the UK. You just said autumn there instead of fall, so you're kind of getting the English language right now.
I have to anglicize a lot of things when I talk to my people over there.
Yeah.
I was just dealing with the new program for the tour that's coming out, and I had to keep putting in the MME on the end of it.
All right, yeah. And spell colour with a U, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep getting spell check all the time on the computer.
Listen, tell us a little bit about yourself, because you were always going to be a singer, but not necessarily Gene Pitney. Didn't you make some early recordings under the name of Billy Bryan?
Yeah, nobody liked my name. I realized that after a while. I mean, the first thing I did was Jamie. I was Jamie of Jamie and Jane.
Yeah.
And then after that, when I left the girl and went on my own, they didn't like Gene Pitney again, and they called me Billy Bryan. And then it got frightening, because they had a name in mind which was Homer Muzzy.
Oh, no.
And only recently I realized where it came from. There's a big baseball field, the other side of Hartford, the capital of Connecticut,
yeah.
And it's called Muzzy Field.
Right.
And it didn't hit me until recently why the first part of it came about, because when you're playing baseball, the biggest thing in the game is a home run.
Right.
But home runs are the biggest thing in the game, and as a result, Homer Muzzy.
Hey, listen, it could have been worse. You could have been Chicago Bear.
No, Homer Muzzy's still worse.
Yeah, all right.
Because that's when I said to myself, that's it. You are now Gene Francis Allen Pitney.
You stay with it. It's worked up to now, hasn't it?
That's great.
I played the song I Want to Love My Life Away,
right.
and a couple of your early hits. You wrote those, of course.
Right.
Do you remember when you started writing songs?
You know I started writing at the same time that I was going to school for electronics, after I got out of high school. But I don't remember why I started or where I started. I don't remember why the process came to be, you know?
Did you listen to music at home? What was being played on the radio with your mum and dad?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I fell in love with music when I've always sang and I've always loved music. But when the black groups came out that made the first rock and roll in the mid-'50s, everybody was a bird's name. You know, there was the Flamingos,
yeah,
the Crows, Penguins, and all those groups. I mean, that's when it really hit me. And I started a band in high school, just to have fun. We played on Friday and Saturday nights at the Rage. In those days was the Record Hop. And we played just to get enough money for gas, you know, for the car. I'll say petrol. But one night, the fat man with a cigar walked up and said, "Do you want to make a record?" And that was really how the whole thing started for me. I didn't have any intention of being a performer. None.
But you wrote songs pretty successfully. I mean, we had Rubber Ball for Bobby V, Hello Mary Lou for Rick Nelson, which you also recorded as well. Were you kind of thinking, yeah, I've got dual, ability here. I can write and I can perform. Were you happy writing?
Oh, I love writing. Writing is one of the, it's a different thing from performing or having hit records of your own. Writing to me is like you create the thing, it's like your baby. You create it with piano or guitar. And then, especially if you hear somebody else do it maybe a different way than you had pictured it being done yourself.
Yeah.
Hello, Mary Lou, I didn't even know. My publisher was so aggressive. He never even told me who he was going after to get people to record the song.
Really?
And I was in Philadelphia in a car with my promotion man, going out to promote my own record, and I was twiddling with the dials on the radio, and on came Rick Nelson singing Hello, Mary Lou. I damn near fell out of the car. I didn't have any clue that he was going to... It wouldn't have never pictured him being the one to sing it either.
Were you pleased with his version? Because it was slightly different than the one you did, yeah.
Well, the version he did was very, very much like the demo that I did, so
yeah.
pretty much the way that I had written it. But they put in this great James Burton guitar solo in the middle that, to me, made the whole song.
Yeah. BBC Radio Swindon, BBC Radio Wiltshire, Mark in the afternoon. We're talking to Gene Pitney. Once the hits started to come for you, you started to record other people's songs, people like Jerry Goffin, Carole King, Burt Bacharach and Hal David, great songwriters. What was the thinking there, Gene? Were you kind of being carried along by management saying, look, you know, we need hit songs, Gene?
Well, I wasn't a traveling songwriter. And
right.
when I got out doing my own tours and going out where I was behind on the recording schedule, the record company and the publishers knew that they had to get songs from somewhere else so that when I did have time to record, that they'd be there and that they'd be great songs.
Mm.
So there was a lot of groundwork done. But the greatest thing about it was that in a little small nucleus in New York at that time, all those people existed down the street from you or down the hall. I used to be able to go down 2 floors in the building where my publisher was and walk in and see Carole King, Jerry Goffin, Barry Mann, and Cynthia Weil and say, you know, I got a session coming up. What are you guys doing? And they would sit down and play the current song for me.
Gosh, it was really a real small village feel to it then.
It really was, and you didn't realize it at the time because you were just doing what you did and really enjoying it. But in retrospect, when you look back on it now, it was really something.
What about that song then, 24 Hours from Tulsa? Because that was kind of the real breakthrough for you. How did that song come about?
Well, after I had had a couple of successes with Burt Bacharach and Hal David, they were very, very quick to assess an artist's weaknesses and strengths. And that's when they started writing songs specifically for me that they thought I could do the best vocal job on and get my teeth into.
Yeah.
And Tulsa was the first one of those. And it was the one, like you say, that opened the door for me to go to the rest of the world. You know, I'd been performing in the States up to that point, but Tulsa really, really gave me a chance to get on the airplane.
Yeah, certainly a special song. And the other thing that occurred to me, I was looking through your back catalogue the other day, Jen. I don't know whether you've ever thought about this really, but, you know, lots of artists sing about falling in love and living happily ever after. You kind of cornered the market in weepies, you know, like Tulsa, Gonna Be Strong, That Girl Belongs to Yesterday. Did you not have much luck with the girls yourself, fella?
No, I was lying a lot when I did that.
Well, listen, my wife would have been there, I tell you.
Yeah. No, people took to that. You know, that happened more for the European audience than it did for the American audience. It got to a point where it made it difficult because I was recording sessions specifically aimed at different places.
Yeah.
The big ballad took off with the I'm Gonna Be Strongs and Backstage and things like that for the UK, where I would still have been doing It Hurts to Be in Loves and things like that, up-tempo numbers for the American market.
And what about that voice of yours? Because it's so significant, you know, and specific. Do you train the voice? I mean, kind of, it's with you now, but did you work on it when you were younger?
No, it's a very natural thing, and I'm sure it's congenital because I heard my dad sing one day, which he very seldom ever did, but we pumped a few drinks into him at Christmas time. And I was playing Christmas carols on the piano, and I realized that he had the same sound, that same nasally sound that I have, the high-pitched sound.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether you like it or don't like it, I know that it's been one of the reasons why I've had the 40 years in a career span, is that when you hear something that I've done, you know that it's me.
So what you're telling me is you have a few drinks before you start singing each time then, Gene?
No, I have tea with honey, actually.
Yeah.